I'm the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So today, I think it was maybe a month or so ago, maybe a month and a half, someone in the comments had said something about Necron bugs taking on tyranids. And I had said something along the lines of, well, the Necron bugs are taking place in the Apocalypse game. And while they did, it's not a bad idea, so sure, I can throw all of my various Necron bug things at some tyranids. That sounds like a fun time. So this is a Harlequin Shadow Seer. It's a kind of a subsect of the Eldar, even though it's kind of its own faction. These guys are mainly accented by the fact, other than their badass psychers and crazy ass in combat, is that they have these diamond patterns in most of on their clothing somewhere, and they're really intricate and really crazy. When I bought this thing, I certainly didn't have the skill to do that. I got it about as far as it is now. I recently took it off the shelf in the hopes that maybe I have the skill for that now, and with all my time and stuff. So it's a work in progress, and hopefully I can get it to have some sort of justice to the idea of the Harlequin scheme. So let's meet some bugs here. So this is what I have for Necron insect, kind of like related stuff. I have two groups of Necron wraiths, a group of 3 and a group of 5. The group of 3 just has vicious claws. The group of 5 has particle casters and vicious claws. And then we have the very much insect-like scarabs. I have 2 full groups of 9, a group of 8, and a group of 3. And then to round out the insect kind of things, we have a canoptic spider with the gloom prisms and the fabricator array. So yep, that's pretty much all I have in the way of it. Hopefully with the new edition I'll have some more insect-like looking things, so, or at least I'm always down for cooler looking Necrons. The Silent King and the Void Dragon were certainly really good additions to 9th, so hopefully they got some good ones for 10th. So then we have the actual bugs. We have 3 10-man groups of Gene Stealers, a 10-man group of Hormigons, and a Flying Hive Tyrant with a Stranglethorn Cannon. All of these guys have adrenal glands and toxin sacs, and his 2 psychic powers, which really aren't going to matter because it's Onslaught and Catalyst. And this is the little area thing that they'll be playing in today. It's only a 4x4 grouping since they're only 42 power level, I think. So yeah, should be a good time. I'll roll for deployment. I'll set up the armies. I guess if somebody can have the option to steal, and then we'll start the game. The Necrons won the roll-off for deployment. Pretty much all of the scarabs grouped around the spider right here. And then the 2 units of wraiths over there. In the middle on the right side-ish. So for the Tyranids, they ended up putting 2 Gene Stealer squads here on the end. Hive Tyrant in the middle, and the Hormigons at the other end, with 1 squad of Gene Stealers opting to deploy forward like they can. Which was fortuitous because, of course, yeah, the bastard Tyranids rolled a 6, so they stole and get to go first. Ugh. So yeah, Tyrannid turn 1. Movement. So everybody who was in the back, the Gene Stealers there, the Hormigons, and the Flying Hive Tyrant, they all advanced, got pretty far. These Gene Stealers who were in the middle just kind of moved forward a little bit. So that would take us to the Psychic phase. Catalyst and Onslaught are the 2 powers that he has. And neither one of them will do any good or any benefit for anyone right now. So yeah, that would take us to the shooting phase. He's the only one with a gun. he advanced with a heavy weapon, so he cannot shoot it this round. So we go to the charge phase. These guys are the only ones that didn't advance, and they are definitely close enough to charge, so they're going to charge into the scarabs right there. Charge phase, fight phase. Alright, that was super ridiculous. So, yeah, the Gene Stealers made it in. They killed 2 of the scarabs and damaged another one. And then, yeah, the scarabs killed all of them. The toxin sacks, which helped out the Gene Stealers. Apparently the scarabs have that same kind of deal, and I just never knew it until now. Like, I've been playing scarabs incorrectly this whole time. They could have been a lot scarier than they already were. Something to remember for later, I guess. Either way, that was awesome. That being done that way, that makes it the Necron turn. So, movement. So, the damaged unit of scarabs regained a wound from living metal, and the Canoptic Spider reanimated an entire scarab model. And then everybody just moved forward. Most of these guys are just pretty happy to be really close to some other bugs. No Catan, no Psychers. Shooting phase, so that'll be the Spider, which has a gun, and those 5 Wraiths all have particle casters. So yeah, Necron bug shooting. That was kind of an interesting shooting phase. So these Canoptic Wraiths killed 5 of these Hormigons, and the Spider actually killed 2 Gene Stealers. Who knew? So the charge phase, the fun phase. These Wraiths are going to charge into those Hormigons. These Wraiths and that group of 3 Scarabs are going to charge into the Flying Hive Tyrant. The wounded group of Scarabs are going to charge into this wounded group of Gene Stealers. Yeah, that should be enough combat for now. Alright, so the Scarabs there, these Scarabs, and the small group of Canoptic Wraiths all made their charges. Between the 2 groups here, they got the Hive Tyrant down to 4 health, and he really only did 3 damage to one of the Scarabs, which didn't even kill it. But that was kind of impressive. Over here, yeah, so discovering that these things do wound rolls on 6s when you're hitting, they did a whole lot of damage. So these guys wiped out the Gene Stealers that were there. Yeah, this battle might have gone a lot differently if I hadn't read that correctly this last time. Craziness. So that'll make it the turn. Yeah, movement. Alright, so shortest movement phase ever. These Gene Stealers are just going to stay here, because they're probably going to charge into the Scarabs. The Hive Tyrant likes fighting bugs, so I guess he's just going to stay there. And the Hormigons just got a lot closer, so that they can successfully charge into the Wraiths. Ordinarily, I would not bother with the Psychic phase, because again, there's really nothing for the Flying Hive Tyrant to do, but my Spider has a Gloom Prism on it, which allows it to attempt to deny one Psychic thing as if it were a Psyker. So since I almost never, and by almost never I'm going to say I don't think I've ever actually used that ability, there is a Psyker. So yeah, I gotta grab some dice. We're going to do that here real fast. Alright, so yeah, we're just going to try and smite because it's kind of basic, and if he does get it off and it doesn't deny it, he could kill a Scarab unit, so well, that's the absolute minimum that he needed to get to actually succeed. So the Spider, attempting to deny, rolled a 4. Ugh. Well, I got to attempt to do it. Yeah. So 1 damage to a Scarab unit, which is enough to kill one of those guys in that grouping over there. Yay! Using a spider like a psyker. Good times. So there would be a shooting phase here, but she's the only one with a gun. Here, let me just go ahead and remove this guy. He's the only one with a gun, and he's in combat. And his gun is not a pistol, so we'll just skip the shooting phase and go to the charge phase, which will be these Hormigons into these happy little wraiths. And this last unit of Gene Stealers into the wounded but still killing lots of Gene Stealers unit of Scarabs. And yeah, the Hive Tyrant dealing with these guys. So everybody made their charges. The Hormigons. Yeah, didn't really do much of anything, but they did die. The Gene Stealers managed to kill off all of the Scarabs here. And the Hive Tyrant killed one of the Wraiths, did a little bit damage to the other one, but took no damage of his own in return. So that wasn't too terrible. That will put it on the Necron turn though, so. Movement. Alright, so the wounded Wraith regained a wound from living metal. These Scarab swarms have swarmed up closer to the Gene Stealers here. The spider came out from behind this, I don't know, this hinged tall looking thing here, this column. The Scarabs and the Wraiths have both fallen back from the Hive Tyrant, and these Wraiths have just gotten closer. Shooting phase. The Wraiths failed to wound on the Hive Tyrant, but the Spider actually did 2 points of damage to it. So it's really, really close to dead with 2 health. Charge phase. The Wraiths have an ability that lets them shoot and charge in turns that they fell back in. So both sets of Wraiths will be charging into the Hive Tyrant. And both sets of Scarabs over here will be charging into these Gene Stealers. Good times. Okay, well, it did take all 6 of the Wraiths, but it did manage to kill off the Hive Tyrant finally. And it did take both groups of Scarabs, but they managed to kill off the Gene Stealers. Alright, that was surprisingly different than I was expecting. I might have to redo this game in the future, but bring a lot more Tyranids to, like maybe 3 times the amount of Necrons in Tyranids, because, yeah, these guys having 4 wounds and the ability to wound on a 6, that's kind of ridiculous. Especially against Gene Stealers that only have 1 wound. Did not expect the Necrons to win. Happy that they did, no lie, but didn't expect it. So yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. Especially these days. I have been looking at the rules for 10th edition and am super excited to see what the codexes have, because no psychic phase is definitely kind of a downer, especially since 6 of my 7 factions have psychers. So, and I got a Thousand Suns army that I've been working on, and they're pretty much all psychers, so hopefully abilities for characters maybe? I don't really know. There's been a lot of talk on Reddit about 10th, so I guess we'll continue to hear about it and talk about it until it arrives. Either way, thanks for watching, and have a good day.